How? It's the Undertaker.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's move on to our next
Trying to
matchup.
sound like Bobby Heenan.
The Rock versus Shawn Michaels. And I got a lot of feedback for this one. Some people went with The Rock because he's black, even though WWF does not acknowledge it. Mike
I mean,
worked.
they do. He was in the Nation.
Yeah,
He was in the Nation.
So
We have The Rock, transcendent superstar, ability to transfer over to movies, has a brand named after him that's still on to this day. The catchphrase is the timeless matches. The first is probably as I said, as Brian said in the other matchup, as JR said, no one has outperformed Shawn Michaels in big match situations. Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, the Heartbreak Kid, the Innovator, 2 Hall of Fame careers, you can say. His first was a Hall of Famer, retired, came back, had another Hall of Fame career. People have also he has influenced so many people. So let me start here. I asked a lot of people, and I've heard people say Shawn Michaels, technical ability in the ring, mic work, innovative. Still remember the ladder match he had with Bret Hart as well. The ladder match at WrestleMania 10. Going onward, the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12, I believe, with Bret Hart. That epic match, that whole thing. His Intercontinental title reigns before that, he was with the Rockers as a tag team. Really just looking at the trajectory of Shawn Michaels, it ended a little bit too shortly in his first run, but the ability to come back in his second run and then have a second Hall of Fame career, one of the greatest of all time in ring, another person who doesn't have a bunch of title reigns, who didn't need the belt. When you think about Shawn Michaels and what he did for the wrestling business and what he's been able to do, D-Generation X is legendary. Yeah, I don't know who to pick in this one either, but I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I think people undersell The Rock in the ring a little bit. I mean, he wasn't as great as Shawn Michaels in the ring, but he was able to hang in there. And I think about a lot of matches that he's had. I've always think about the '99 King of the Ring with the Undertaker. I think about the '98 Survivor Series, his ability to win the title there and be that guy. I still think about the matches with Mankind, the I Quit match at Royal Rumble '99, the empty arena match during the Super Bowl, carrying it to WrestleMania, the ability to have 3 main event WrestleMania matches with one person with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought about that. Shawn Michaels hasn't done that. One of the greatest triple threat matches of all time with Kurt Angle and Undertaker at Vengeance. I watched that match. That's a great match. I think that was 2001. Mm-hmm. And you just think about the epicness of The Rock and his pizzazz and swagger. And I'm leaning towards The Rock here because just the entertainer factor. Like, people forget about how over that is as a character in wrestling is. And we just talked about it with the other match where it's just like the other matchup where it was like that wasn't everything. This is tough. Because Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania. You think about all his epic matches. His dance partner basically advanced the other round. The other part of that component of one of the greatest matches ever is Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm. And when you think about his
showstopper,
when you think about WrestleMania and his longevity and his ability to just be that guy for a long ass time, I can't sit there and say that The Rock is better than that. I can't. Shawn Michaels wasn't the main event at WrestleMania a couple times, and he stole the show.
Mm-hmm. Every single time.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jericho comes to mind at WrestleMania 19. WrestleMania 20, he was in that triple threat match with Chris Benoit and Triple H. He was a part of that. WrestleMania 21 against Kurt Angle.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 22 was against John Cena.
Now 23 was John Cena. I think 23. I think 22 was the street fight against Vince.
He made a street fight awesome. Like, Shawn Michaels for that many times in a row just being that guy there. That's legendary.
Exactly, it is legendary. It all depends upon again what we value. When you look at The Rock, you say he's the most charismatic superstar, or one of the most charismatic superstars in WWE history. Innovator on the mic. Swag and such. Definitely a the most successful superstar to come from WWE to actually branch out and have success elsewhere. But then you look at in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, when Vince initially took over and decided to take the company national and essentially become sports entertainment. Obviously you had Hulk Hogan era, you had the Ultimate Warrior, and then when it moved on into the next era, that next era was headlined by Shawn Michaels with Bret Hart. Two guys who are thought of because of their size. They can't draw real money. You can't really main event with them. But then they took their abilities to the point where they main evented WrestleMania in an Iron Man match, which is probably one of the top matches of all time in WWE history. I mean, Shawn Michaels. I mean, when you think about
legendary, but it's not the great. It's not like up there. It's a good match.
It's a good match.
For what they were able to do and the story they were able to tell, but nah, that's an hour, man.
Exactly. As much as I say, Rock was an innovator on the mic. Shawn was also an innovator himself with the ladder match. I mean, that very first ladder match. I mean, you see all the ladder matches that we've seen since. I mean, the TLC match and the triangle ladder match with the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian was based off of what Shawn and Razor did at WrestleMania 10. So he's an innovator in that sense. I mean, you could make the case that Shawn Michaels was the wrestler of the 90s. Can you make that case? I think you can make that argument for even with the back injury. You can make the case that Shawn was the wrestler of the 90s. No, not the 80s, the 90s. The 90s. Not the 80s, the 90s.
I don't know, man.
No.
That's tough.
The 90s.
Is he the wrestler of the 90s? Yeah, he has to be the wrestler of the 90s because even his mid-card work was pretty great.
Exactly. The Intercontinental title. What he was able to make of it. But then when I look back at The Rock, I mean, when you look at his journey, from Rocky Maivia to then joining the Nation, then becoming the leader,
turning into a Texan.
Oh, yeah. And then
he was booed at WrestleMania 17. Just want to in Texas. I just want to point that out. For being a Texan.
Yeah. But so, and speaking with my reliable sources, they asked me, besides Hogan and Stone Cold. Daniel, I know you mentioned the triple threat with Kurt Angle and Undertaker, which I remember that was a very good triple threat with all the guys using their finishes on each other. I remember that specifically. But aside from those three matches, what other matches has Rock had that really like stand out? Besides those opponents,
there's a bunch that I know, but in terms of comparison to Shawn Michaels, no, it's not.
It's not even close. Not even close at all. But like I said, it's what you value. I mean, when you look at, this is a tough one. Impact on the business between these two. Now, do you put them? Is it similar to last week when we had Stone Cold and Undertaker as far as impact goes? We have them both at pretty much the same, or is one's higher? Where are we at with impact on the business?
This is so hard because The Rock is so huge and again someone who has transcended, even though he didn't have the longest career. I mean, he had a long career, but literally transcended and is one of the biggest stars today. But I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, man. Apparently, it is tough
they're both
Daniel's
so.
frozen now because of it. That's how tough it is.
Huh?
Yeah, that's how tough it is because Daniel's frozen now because of it.
Oh shit!
Yeah, this is how tough it is.
It broke him. It broke his screen.
Yeah, exactly. His connection. I messed up the connection between these two guys.
You can't choose. Yeah, you think that everything that the Brock brought to the table, just like the charisma, like the athleticism, and it's just like he's on par with like being one of the best like promo workers. You know, him, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, like they're just that alone is just like is not replicated in this day and age. And I say that a lot, that there's just not a lot of people that can cut promos like they used to back in the day, you know? And you know, like, but I think that's the tough part because it's just like, just from the stuff that he did with Steve Austin, the Nation and everything was just so impactful. But you then got Shawn Michaels, who, you know, young, made an impact as well, but then still came back and still longevity, and then still had those amazing matches with The Undertaker and just so much more. I mean, I don't know. Like, I have a choice, I have a decision, but I don't even want to say it because it's just like,
I mean, we got two all-time greats. I mean, this is also another one where you can't go wrong with either one. But
no, I know.
But I always looked at it, like Daniel had said. I mean, Shawn is the greatest performer in wrestling history. Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, when you look at both of them, who has been more of a who has like looked up. I know a lot of these guys that look up to Shawn Michaels and The Rock, but since we mentioned it in the previous bracket, who tries to emulate Shawn and Rock the most?
The super kick is sickening today.
Yeah, this is true.
That is a finisher move, goddammit. That is a finisher move.
Hey, those are called super kicks. Shawn's was the sweet chin music. So unless you get in that chin, I mean, it's not.
As I said, I think I said this before. I used to think that he was like. I used to think when he was loading his boot in the corner that he was just getting a piece of like metal to slide down the piece of his foot or some shit, and then keep people. As a kid, I was like, "How is he knocking people out like that? How is that happening?"
Oh man, I used to always be baffled because I was like, "Yo, he's kicking people in the face. How are they not getting like a broken nose or like a broken jaw or something?" I'm like, how is this possible?
Perfectly on the chin.
When he caught Shelton Benjamin, I thought Shelton was done. I'm like, Jesus.
He sent him to the shadow realm.
This is another thing. Shawn, again, in ring work ability, the ability to work with anybody. Shawn Michaels worked with literally everybody. Shelton Benjamin, mid-carders, Kane, everybody. Austin.
I'm had a no DQ match with the Great Khali. And the match was actually not bad.
Shawn Michaels has worked with literally everybody on every level and has been able to get great matches out of multiple people. The matches with Undertaker are legendary, but then I can just look to like literally nearly every WrestleMania match, win or lose. Those were entertaining. And The Rock's span is another thing kind of similar to Austin, right? He's kind of similar to Austin, right? Like in just big playability in terms of entertainment factor, drawing your eyes to the product, being a character in itself during that short reign, but it's just the longevity of Shawn Michaels, the ability of that. Like, I don't even care about The Rock returning with those last couple title runs and stuff like that. And against John Cena, against CM Punk and stuff like that. Like those are whatever to me. But Shawn Michaels coming back that second time, I still think about Chris Jericho No Mercy 2008. That whole setup throughout the summer and how that led off into that, especially that iteration of Jericho's character, and just Shawn Michaels' ability just to be entertaining. Even in DX when he came back with Triple H and they were the old DX guys trying to be funny. That was entertaining as well. Like you just look at every iteration of these guys of of Shawn Michaels, and it's just greatness, especially in ring. And that's the one thing that I'm always going to try to lean on is in ring in these debates. Is like The Rock was awesome in ring. I think The Rock is underrated in ring. I think people forget about how he was able to carry a match, sell, do certain things in the match.
Definitely sold.
Yeah, like we know about the Stone Cold Stunner and jumping and doing the backflip. We know about that, and you just think about that from that perspective of just like what these guys are able to bring to the table. And I think about all the stuff that Rock has done, as entertaining as it was, laying the SmackDown. SmackDown's a whole thing. The video games, the catchphrases, The Rock is synonymous. Shawn Michaels doesn't really have those type of catchphrases, but he had those entertaining promos where you're like, oh, this guy, especially in the early stages of DX, oh, this guy's a prick. Like we literally hated Shawn Michaels for just being an asshole, like just being over the top, being flamboyant at that time when that wasn't accepted, especially at that time.
Exactly. That's something else people don't talk about. When WCW was kicking WWE's ass initially with the NWO and Hulk Hogan and such, it was Triple H and Shawn Michaels who like started DX and started to get a little bit more edgy on TV because they saw WCW was kicking our ass and everything we're putting out is still like kid friendly. So let us be a little bit more controversial before they even called it DX. Yeah, they came out. That's something that people don't really think about.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be Shawn for me.
Yeah, I think. I mean,
like I don't want to knock The Rock out, but compared to Shawn,
it's Shawn Michaels because of that in ring. But you can't deny that in ring ability.
I'm still mad. This is a match we never got. We could see if Shawn wasn't on his shit and broke his back, we would have got it. Like,
yeah, eventually.
But to never even get it like after that, like that's crazy. But yeah, I want to go Shawn Michaels with that just because.
Yeah, I think it's unanimous. Shawn Michaels.
You can't ignore that in-ring ability. You can't ignore that pizzazz. Like that one focal point of in-ring ability to me. It overshadows any catchphrase. It overshadows SmackDown, that brand awareness. It overshadows the power and size of The Rock and all that entertainment factor. Like, I have to go with fucking Shawn Michaels.
Are we saving this last round for next week, or are we doing this now?
Next week. We gotta do it next week.
This one needs its own episode. No, this matchup needs a week now. Let's have some respect for this matchup.
I'm definitely watching.
It's the greatest matchup of all time. So I got
all Taker, all Shawn Michael matches like till next week.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. We need to do a little bit more digging in terms of research and fucking just information and getting all the stuff there. So we got another week. So the finals are here. We got The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, two of the greatest wrestlers of all time. But who is the greatest? This is.
I'm sure we're gonna get so much crap for Ric Flair not being.
No. Ric Flair might cause a riot. Like people are gonna be.
Yeah. You guys don't know what you're talking about. What did you watch? Back in my day, Ric Flair was the WCW champion, Starrcade every year, styling, profiling. He made me want to be a wrestler. Like, I'm probably gonna get killed.
It's crazy how different generations like. People remember this, like the people remember just the Hogan era, and then people who don't even know like the Shawn Michaels era, and then it's like then the people who don't know the Steve Austin and the Rock and Triple H and that era. It's just
exactly, but you know, it's like the basketball debate right now between like Jordan and LeBron. I mean, two different generations. I mean, you got people, you got the Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless of the world always go with Jordan, but then you got like Kendrick Perkins who goes LeBron. I mean, it's just generational greats. I mean, that's all it is really.
Yeah. Well, I've always heard like the whole like,
oh my god, what are you doing?
Where's Floyd? Damn it!
Nah, I think the Ric Flair is gonna get us upset. They're gonna be like, "You, you're
gonna put the." It's like, come on.
You let a gravedigger beat Ric Flair?
Did you know Ric Flair almost died? Yo, you crazy?
Almost died like last month.
The man's still wrestling. He just had his last match.
Well, yes, that is the finals. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. I'm going to definitely watch a lot of matchups. Probably tonight. Probably before I go to sleep. Probably going to watch a couple matches just to be like, all right, let me just pick a random match.
I'm watching Shawn versus Bret Hart right now. WrestleMania 12.
Oh, you're gonna be up long. Nah, man, it's a good match, but it's just too long. Like in terms of like,
is this the Iron Man match?
Yeah. WrestleMania, yeah, it's a long one. It's a good match, but it's just like in terms of what else these guys are able to do.
Was it the WrestleMania before where he won the IC title, or was that the ladder match that he won the IC title?
No, he lost that one. He lost that against Razor.
Yeah,
WrestleMania 10.
So when did he win the IC title?
Yeah, no, I think they had a rematch ladder match. I think at SummerSlam, and then Shawn won it then. Yeah, that was the ladder match nobody liked because they couldn't use the ladder as a weapon. So the whole logic of the match changed. It was a race to the title, so it wasn't.
Oh wow! You couldn't hit each other with the ladders. That's so
I mean that's what. Yeah.
That was the story behind it, yeah. But I'm definitely gonna have to watch a lot of matches. I've seen a lot of the Undertaker's '90s stuff, that reign when he came in, because I always remember Survivor Series when he was introduced to them. That '90s run, even though '94 when it was Undertaker versus Undertaker, which was terrible. Nobody liked that SummerSlam '94.
That dumb mask he had.
Oh man, I think it was Survivor Series '96. He had like a weird fucking. Oh man, he's done a lot of stuff with that character, man.
But wasn't that because he was injured though that he had that mask on?
Like, yeah. I think he
had a fracture or something.
Fracture face. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting as we look down the road to this. Definitely gonna try to watch a lot of wrestling this weekend and try to just write some notes, because it's like these are two of the greatest. We have two of the greatest wrestlers of all time in the final two here. As we wrap up the GOAT bracket, which was a great idea by all of us and the way we came about it, to come to this conclusion here, I think we have the two right people here. There's other people that are in consideration, but in terms of what everybody brings to the table, I think we do have the two best wrestlers here in the conversation. They're definitely in the conversation. So at least we're on the right track with that. If anything else, we'll deal with the comments and backlash later, as always. But again, thank you guys for joining me on this one. This one does it for this episode of Ring Takes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes, sir.